Hello, my name is Keith. Welcome to the channel. So, if you're brand new to the channel, welcome again. I'm going to go through a few of the essential things that you need for an acoustic guitar, essential accessories that you need for an acoustic guitar, because you get your guitar and it probably comes with strings. If it doesn't, you're probably buying it from the wrong place. Let's hope that's not the case. But you get your guitar, you need to tune it. First thing you're going to need is a guitar tuner. Now this is a core guitar tuner. It has a microphone built in and it has an input jack so you could plug in your electric guitar and tune it. You don't really need one of these, so that's a bonus for you. $0. There's free apps out there. Guitar Tuna, Fender makes one. Tons of them out there. Highly recommend. No, not recommend. You need a tuner. All right, so the next thing that we're going to talk about are guitar picks. We need guitar picks to strum. I guess you don't need them to strum. You can just use your hands. But you're going to need some guitar picks. Now, what guitar picks you're going to need, it's completely up to you. It's a personal preference type of deal. You could like thick guitar picks. You could like thin guitar picks. You could like some in the middle. You could like guitar picks that are tiny. You could like them the shape and size of Doritos. Me, I prefer the traditional guitar pick. As a matter of fact, this is a Herco guitar pick, Flex 50, and it's a very popular guitar pick out there. The reason I started using these, I read in a biography of Neil Young, this is what he uses. And I tried it out, and I actually really enjoy it, and I wouldn't go back. Now, the reason why I like these picks is because it has a texture on them, which makes it easier to grip, and you're less likely to drop the pick when you're strumming on them. All right, so you got your guitar pick, your string breaks. What are you going to do? You need one of these. This is, what are these things called? Guitar string winders? I don't know. They're fun to play with. Either way, I got a couple of them here. And these are essential with an acoustic guitar. And here's why. They come with a notch in them. And that notch is so you could take it and stick it right here underneath the bridge pin, and it allows you to pull out the pin without using pliers, because if you use pliers to pull these out, you're going to mar the bridge up, you're going to mar the pegs, and you're just not going to have a good time. So get one of these. It'll allow you to pull those out and wind up the string. So you have your strings change on your acoustic guitar. What are you going to do next with all the strings that are coming out here? You're going to want to nip them. So I have a pair of angle cutters here. This isn't necessary. You need something to cut the strings off. You don't want to poke your eye out. You'll poke your eye out, kid. You'll poke your eye out, kid. So yeah, get as close to as you can to the tuning peg and nip it off. Be careful not to cut the other strings while you're doing that. Okay, so those are four of the essential things that you need. With these things, a tuner, string tool thingy, guitar picks, and some kind of wire cutter. Those are your essentials. Now, I'm going to move on to the next set of essentials, the next stage. You would not go wrong with getting a capo when you buy your first guitar. It's going to come in handy in many different ways. I've had this one since 1998, never had any issues with it. It's a Kaiser capo, and throw it on the top of your guitar here. Forget about it. When you need it, it's there. Next up, we're going to talk about our fretboards. What do we do with our fretboards? I endorse, not, I guess literally I'm endorsing, GHS Fast Fret. Now, I'm not sponsored by them in any way. I've just been using this stuff forever. This has mineral oil in it, and what that'll do is it'll condition your fretboard. Don't be fooled. It says fast fret. It's not going to make you play any faster. It's not meant for that. At least that's what I gather from it. What I find it most useful for is conditioning the fretboard. So if you have a darker colored fretboard, rosewood, ebony, things like that, whenever I change the strings, I take this fast fret, I pull it out, and I wipe down the fretboard with the fast fret stick, and it comes with a little cloth. Then I wipe it down. You don't want to leave it on there. You're going to want to wipe it down and put the strings back on, and you'll be good to go. Now, one thing that it does also come in handy for is if your strings are getting a little dead or dull, you could bring a little bit more life into the strings by rubbing it directly onto the strings and then wiping it off with the cloth. That will brighten things up a little bit more and take some of that crud off of your guitar strings. I recommend this stuff. I've had no issues at all with it. Just don't use it on a maple fretboard neck. All right, next up, you're gonna probably want to get yourself a pencil, and here's why. This is not going to be for writing notes. You could write notes, lyrics, poems, anything you want, but for the purpose of this video, what we're going to do with it is when we're changing our strings, if you find some of the strings are popping or snapping when you're tuning it, or if they're coming out of tune, you probably need a little bit of lubrication right here on the nut of the guitar. So when you're changing the strings, take your pencil lead and kind of draw inside of the slots where all the strings lay, and that'll provide a kind of dry lubricant on the nut for your strings so that they don't just snap whenever you're trying to tune the guitar, and it'll keep it in tune. All right, now essential, it depends on what you're playing. Eventually you're going to want to diversify and do a few different things with your guitar. Get yourself a slide. These things are cheap. I prefer the metal ones because the glass ones, if you drop them, they'll break and you don't have a slide anymore. These, you drop them, it'll just bounce. So if you want to feel a little more adventurous with your playing, get one of these. Now, finally, now this is purely something that if you're really, really neurotic, get yourself a hydrometer. This will measure the relative humidity of the room that you're in. And you want to keep this thing in the same room as where you keep your acoustic guitar, just so you can keep an eye on the humidity. In the wintertime, it'll get really dry. You might want to bring a humidifier into the room where your guitar is stored. In the summertime, it might get really humid and you might want to throw your guitar in a case. This will give you a quick glance. They're super cheap. You can buy them off of Amazon as to what the humidity is in your room. So there you go. Those are my essential things that you need for an acoustic guitar, essential accessories. So just to summarize, we need a tuner. You have one of those on your phone. You're going to need something to change your strings with. These are super cheap. You're going to need something to cut the ends of your strings off. Again, you can buy these anywhere. You probably have one in your dad's toolbox. Guitar picks. Those are the essentials. All right, so thank you for watching, and if you liked what you saw here, please like and subscribe to the video. I'm going to be putting more of these videos out. Next up, we're going to do a Martin guitar review of a Martin D15E. So again, thank you for coming, and let's make every one of these endings as awkward as possible. Hi, doggy.